Hi, my piano fellows. Welcome to today's lesson. We are working on the legendary Ballade number 4 by Frédéric Chopin. In this lesson, I'm sharing my personal approach with practical and technical recommendations and advice, stylistic intricacies, as well as explanations of my personal interpretational decisions that will hopefully aid you in studying this wonderful, wonderful, profound piece. And this is the short demo version of the course with only a couple of examples. The full version is available to get, and the link is, of course, in the description, as well as the links to my performances of this piece. And in addition to the video lesson itself, I'm also including my annotated PDF score, where I'm marking nearly everything that I'm going through during the course. And you, of course, get it complimentary with the purchase of the full course. And if you are getting it during the first week after the release of this video, there is a first week discount already built in for you into the price. Make sure to check out my YouTube playlist with more course demos, including courses on the complete Scriabin piano sonatas. And if you like my teaching style and you're interested in individual piano lessons with me, I teach globally online, and you're more than welcome to contact me through the contact form on my website. The link is also in the description. I teach all styles of classical music. It does not have to be a certain composer. You can bring a whole program, you can bring one piece, or you can just come with technical questions. I'm happy to help you, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you personally. Now let's dive in. We are at the doorstep of the fourth ballade. So in the very beginning, we have the tempo indication saying andante con moto. So this is the biggest question. How slow or how fast shall this piece move? Yeah, there is, of course, no definitive answer. It definitely should not be a slow piece, but this is not a fast beginning. I think con moto gives us a lot. This is a huge clue, and that's the key word. Believe me, I have heard pianists play the intro, the first 8 measures of this piece, and stopping nearly 4 times. This should not be happening. This is one incredibly long phrase. Well, 2 phrases, but I treat it as one long line. And in order to have a one long line, we have to first not create dynamic accents, second, not create temporal accents, and of course, dramatic accents either. But at least let's figure out what to do with the dynamic and temporal accents. So we start with a very gentle wrist. So press the pedal and feel how the fingertips of the thumb and of the pinky both dive into each of the corresponding keys, and your wrist is gently cushioning the octave. Yeah, this is step 1. Step 2 is to create direction. So you start softer, and maybe even with una corda, and you build towards the 4th octave when the left hand is going to come in. Let's not do the left hand for the moment, so let's work on the right hand for now. Into here, but you keep going. If you do this, stop before, stop after, you're done. There is no more fourth ballade. You can stop playing here. It's not worth it anymore. Yes, I'm being rough, but this is the truth. You gotta keep going. Yeah, without stopping, neither before nor after. Let me do this again without talking, because when I talk, I tend to stop myself since I'm concentrating on the words also. We have a hairpin towards the first half of the second measure. The main point is also to not stop temporally. So there is a slight dynamic movement, but not the temporal one. So please watch yourself that you are always on the move. Remember con moto. Hashtag con moto, please, throughout the whole piece. And whenever your left hand comes and goes, it has a certain dynamic of its own, yeah? So the right hand has the crescendo hairpin, the left hand has the diminuendo hairpin. We're going to work on that in a second. Whenever the left hand comes and goes, please also do not stop there is such a huge tendency of so many pianists with master's degrees who still do it. And I'm feeling really sad for them that they were not taught this. It's probably not their fault. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe they should just listen more carefully. I mean, I don't want to judge, but I hear it all the time. So let's just avoid all the possible stops in here. If you need a cushion or something, think of it up front and think what movement your hand should be doing in order to avoid unnecessary pauses. This is crucial in here. And keep going here, but don't stop. And diminuendo. Yeah, so this is incredibly necessary. Now, the left hand does something that is completely the opposite. So it starts, please do not start with an accent. Don't do this. This is not good. Yeah, you have to wrap it up towards the end while you're opening up for the right hand. Well, let's try this first couple of bars maybe. So you're sort of still developing the right hand, and the left hand is going away. You can lean slightly on the first G of the second bar, but you have to make sure that your C is on the upward motion of your wrist and without any extra time. I will keep repeating this throughout the piece, so brace yourself. Keep going. And keep going. Diminuendo, yes, but no ritenuto. And diminuendo. And only now there is the ritenuto. And let's do it not too much. Fermato. And then the theme starts. I'm not going there yet. This is one of the hardest beginnings in the piano literature in terms of the sophistication, in terms of the nuances, in terms of how transparent it is, and it's walking the edge of the knife. So let's work on the left hand alone when the 16th notes come. Change of the pedal gently. And change again and off. Yeah, the pedal changes. We have to be very careful because the pedal here was not originally written for this kind of a piano. Chopin did not have this kind of a piano. And the pedal on the pliés and the eras of the 19th century that he was mostly using, a different kind of a piano, was quite different. I'm not going to go into the details, and I'm not a piano technician. You can research more on those instruments of the 19th century. But it was definitely quite different, and the pedaling needed to be different. So the written pedal in the score stayed, but our instrument is not the same. So our instrument changed, and we have to act accordingly. If we do a sharp takeoff on the A as written in my score, the G is naked, and then the ending of the G is rough. So I prefer to have a change and then to have this G, this is slow-mo now, with a slow finger takeoff and pedal takeoff. So it's elegant. It does not become an on-off MIDI version sound. We do not want that in the fourth ballade by Chopin, right? The next section. Let's talk about the polyphony. So we have a variation of the first section, also with the similar texture in the left hand, although instead of just the bass alone, we now have the octave or a chord in a lot of places. But the fun part is in the right hand. Let's start from, guess what? The middle voice. Yeah, you have to know it alone by memory if you're a professional. This is crucial. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck in this section sooner or later if you have not memorized the inner voice. And I'm not talking about the fingering right now. I'm talking about your ears. and phrase it. That's the key. Lean off, lean off. No pedal right now for you. All bare and raw as it should be in the beginning for clarity. After you've done that a few million times, that now you can do it with any finger of any hand in your sleep, you're ready to put your parts of the right hand together. Let's do that. And listen to both. Legato. But make sure now your top stands out. Yes, so it's not something in here, but that's your top and that's your third. Same here. Yeah, when they overlap, when it's the same note, make sure it really stands out, the top. Resolution, yeah? So resolve. By slightly going up with your wrist and having very light fingers, but sharp and active fingertips. Lift. Yeah, dive into those chords and cushion on a very relaxed wrist and never push hard while holding any chord. Well, here there's no time to hold anyway, but let's go. Accent, accent. Change the pedal. That's gonna be with the left hand. Now let's keep going. 62, 63. Listen to your top. You're still having this. Very slowly. Yeah, legato. This is what you should have. So here, accent, but your accent still should be elegant. Accent. I love this chromaticism. Woo! Okay. Now, after you have done this a few million times, it's time to work on the left hand. Let's do that. Your chords are sometimes bigger than in the initial section. And I think your pedal is going to be delayed way more than before. And listen. Regarding the balance of the left hand, whenever you have octaves like this, bass octaves, emphasize your pinky over your thumb because this is gonna be heavy. It feels like a punch in the face. Don't do it. This is fuzzy. It feels noble. This is what we need for Chopin. Measure 61, change and hold. Or go immediately with 5, so you can hold your quarter. I connect with the pedal, whatever is in between the slurs, because I don't want hiccup slurs here. I want elegance, so I put a pedal in here. And here I go 5. Change to 4, 5, 4, 5 in the bass. Same position for these two chords. Off. Here I change 1 to 5. Turn the hand, change the pedal. Please do not play an accent on the E flat. Da 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 da. Think you go through the D flat into here. Yeah, not like this. That's not good. So da da. Stronger, weaker, slightly stronger, and you're going into here. Okay, let's put the hands together. Listen to that middle voice. Of course, listen to everything, but follow the intricate pathway that your middle part has. And as much legato as possible, physically. And always listen to this, how it resolves. I like rolling and putting the bass somewhere in the middle, but that's my thing. You don't have to do it this way. Just please catch all your notes in there. Yeah, don't do this empty. Yeah, you need all your notes. You can do like this, or like I do. This is slightly accented. I don't like it myself because you will already have this, and this feels like, I don't know, too rough. So I prefer to not do that. Change. Make sure you're cleaning up your pedal here. Yeah, so we do not end up with greasiness like this. It's not good. Yeah, so change. Use half a pedal and change frequently, especially here. Yeah, one more time, slowly. So you always should have only one harmony per pedal in Chopin, please. The last chord also with all the energy you've got in your life. Yeah, go for it like it's a matter of life and death. This is the end of the fourth ballade. And by the way, a cross theme from Bach, technically. Anyway, I can't believe, but we have reached to the end of the lesson on the fourth ballade, a very signature piece for the entire humanity, entire pianistic humanity, classical pianistic humanity, I would say. Thank you so much for being with me today and entrusting me teaching you. I hope that you found the lesson useful, or at least some things in this lesson useful. If you like my teaching style, you are more than welcome to contact me for individual lessons. I currently teach people from the intermediate to professional levels. Make sure to check out my other courses. There is a YouTube playlist on my course demos of all the courses that are available to get. If this video was interesting or helpful in any way, please hit like and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much once again for being with me, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Bye.